Hello, my name is Scott Bernt. I am the DAV State Commander.
I'm Trent Dilks, the Department Adjutant for the Disabled American Veterans Department of Minnesota. I'd like to welcome you to our first ever virtual fall conference. Unfortunately, current events have made this a necessity for us to try something new, but I am hopeful that we will put out something that provides the information that you need to continue forward and the background information on what we've done over the past year.
Our fall conference is normally our training time for our chapter leadership, and this year, doing this virtual, we are doing a great project to help the chapters with their AFRs, and I think this is going to be a breakthrough for all our chapters this year to adapt to this new program.
Along with our welcome, I'd like to thank you all for your flexibility and your ability to adapt throughout this pandemic and the current situation. We really look forward to bringing you the information and training that you need and continuing, even from a distance, the camaraderie that makes our organization so great.
Almighty and gracious God, we come together this day at this time to conduct business and promote programs for the good of you, our communities, and the disabled American veterans. May each of us seek your wisdom and guidance in what we do, in what we say, and in how we act. For God and country, we are at this meeting. May we discuss all matters with an open mind and the respect commanded of each other as they express their opinions. May each of us understand our love for the purpose for which we meet here today. Amen.
Throughout the course of an unprecedented year, we've seen many things change within our department, and many first-time situations have arisen. In reviewing our past department commanders, this is the first time in the history of the Department of Minnesota one department commander has been asked to serve 2 years. As a result of the global pandemic and the cancellation of our convention, Scott Bernt has been asked to continue to serve and lead our department throughout this difficult time. It is my honor to introduce him for his annual report and update to our members here at the virtual fall conference.
Thank you, Adjutant Dilks, for the introduction. As the commander, I have many responsibilities in the department. Some are good things and some are bad things. In this trying time, I have had to make some very difficult times, and this is my report talking about them. And the first and foremost, I hope you all are staying safe and healthy. And the year 2020 has been a very different year. In my many years of life, I've never seen such a problem area with this pandemic and this coronavirus. We are all in this together, and I hope things will get back to somewhat what we call normal. I don't know what normal is no more. Our department is really trying to stay ahead of the problem, but the problems change daily. And my focus on my staff, what I've told them, is just to solve the problems as they arrive. Our headquarters is open. I know a lot of you have called me and complained because the phone don't get answered. But there is a person in the staff office Monday through Friday. I have taken another year as a state commander because we couldn't have spring convention. Fall conference is gone. And I'm hoping I didn't make a bad decision, but I am knowledgeable about the department. We have a great staff. We have a great line office, a bunch of line officers underneath me, and they all decided for me to take another year. I'm hoping that's a good thing. Minnesota, I don't know how we did it. We got the Judge Robert S. Marks Award. When I looked at the membership, we were in second place, but I got a letter that said that we received it. It was it was a surprise to me and a surprise to our department. I have done a lot of functions with the National Commander, Butch Whitehead. He's kind of my friend. He's from our great state. I'm very proud of him. He does great things for our veterans at the national level and at the state level. I'm hearing many of the organizations that are still supporting our foundation, and our foundation is the giving arm of our department. There are many organizations that are raising money for our department foundation. I'd like to mention at least two of them: the Southwest Mustang Club and the Mystic Lake Casino. They have already presented checks to us, which is a great honor for us to receive them and to help our veterans here in the state of Minnesota. We are finally starting to get back on track with our outdoor program. Many things were canceled this summer: the deer hunt, trolling for troops, fishing trips. And this fall, we're finally pulling our first fishing trip and the deer hunt in the month of October. I am going to attend both of these events, and because I like to talk to veterans, hear what the veterans' issues are. I've heard a lot about on the Commander's Task Force. I'm a member of that, and on how the government is supposed to work, our state government, and our bills and legislation. We did not have Veterans Day on the Hill this year. I'm hoping we can have it next year, but I do not know. We had two issues that we tried to get through. They were both passed, but somehow they did not get signed into law. One was one-time transferability for the widows on their house, and the other one is called Veterans Retro Justice Act. And neither one of them were passed. This is going to be my focus next year in 2021, and I'm hoping that we can get them passed for our veterans. I want to talk one thing about our transportation program. There's 48 states that have a transportation program. In our state, we did not shut it down during this COVID time. All the veterans that needed to get to their VA health appointment because they were critical, we made sure it happened. I did work with Stephanie Zybit on a financial report, which is the AFR. She was the brains, I was a testee. We put together a great program. I'm going to fully support this program. It's a template for our chapters and maybe the units to use to make their AFR reports more simpler and get them right. Last year we had over 13 chapters that had rejected AFRs, and that's not really very good for an outstanding department we have. Our staff are very professional. I can't run the department without our staff. We have department committees: transportation, outdoors, legislation, women's veterans. I utilize them committees to make sure that they're doing their work. They come up with great ideas, we implement them. One thing I want to talk about is a network. We don't have one. We can't get a hold. We have some 19,000 veterans in our organization, and we're lucky to get hold of 100 of them. The network is needed to get out on issues that could affect the veterans at the federal level, state level, or even your local city level. There's many acts going on, many bills going through, and you need to know about them, especially when it affects you. At the present, we have 32 chapters, and of the 32 chapters, I think about 29 of them are in the clothing program. This is a great way to raise money, but this program has been going on for many years, and many chapters are relying on it so much. We need the chapters to start thinking outside the box. Start thinking of alternative ideas to raise money. I see in the near future that the chapter program might not be as great as it is now. We never know with the ever-changing way of life. I have gotten a lot of calls from many chapters about our clothing program. Oh, I'm sitting on this much product, I'm sitting on this much product. Please take note of what Josh is putting out, my operations director, because he's telling you the truth. He's not sugarcoating it, he's just telling it like it is. And we need to listen to him. As he says, take commands from the towers. That was the old thing when you're on the rifle range. And people knew that command. Take all your instructions from the tower. So please do. I need the chapters to keep on focus on what our mission really is. Helping veterans families. I need the chapters also to remind them that there's reports that we do that are due annually. The FR, which is due probably today as we're taping, the IRS 990s, and if you make over $25,000, you have to do the solicitation to the Attorney General. In the last 2 years, a year and a half that I've been commander, I'm sorry to inform you that we've had 4 chapters that have lost their EIN. And the worst part about it, they had the postcard to do, which is the easiest. And it costs you $600 to get your EIN number back, and it takes anywhere from 2 months up to 6 months for the IRS to act on it. And during that time, department has to hold your funds if you're in the clothing program, because that's under the new statute, that's taxable income if you don't have a nonprofit. I have also noticed as commander that the leadership in the chapters is changing. And when it changes, the people taking over are lost. I don't see a mentoring program. This includes even in my chapter. We have key leaders in key chapters, and if they were to leave, that chapter would fall apart. And you know that as well as I do. We need a mentoring program to get our people that are going to take over our positions to know what they have to do. The membership is our lifeline, and I'm excited that I have a great senior vice, Ron Haugen. He comes up with some great ideas, and he'll be talking to you shortly on how we are going to try to tackle our membership. And it's hard this without being outside talking to veterans, doing functions and stuff like that to get membership. So I hope you listen to them, and we'll go from there. These are just the dates that are required. This is me bringing in food to a local, the only food shelf in the state of Minnesota that I know of, which is in my county. And we have 33,000 veterans, and we spend about $1,000 every month with this food program. I want to thank you. I'm looking forward for a better and more productive year in 2021, and hope you are all staying safe and healthy, and we'll see you in the spring. Thank you.
The Department of Minnesota consistently focuses on our mission, on what we can do to help the disabled veterans of Minnesota and their families. It would be impossible for us to complete this mission without the support of those around us, and specifically the DAV of Minnesota Auxiliary. Throughout our history, they have been there to support our mission, to fulfill their own mission, and continue to provide a way forward for us. I would like to introduce Nancy Bernt, State Commander of the DAV Minnesota Auxiliary, for her report.
I would like to start by thanking the Minnesota DAV for inviting me to participate in this event. As a state commander, my goal is to have the chapter and the units work together side by side. Here are a few things I'd like to talk about for a few minutes. I would like to address all of you in the following matters. Our annual financial report first is due September 30th every year, which is today. So I want to make sure that you get your reports in and you mail them to all four. You have to mail them to National, the DAV State Department, the Auxiliary State Department, and you keep one for yourself for your own records. Our next item is our 990 e-postcard that is due by November 15th. That is very easy to do on your computer, and most of you have been trained at our fall conferences on how to do these. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to get a hold of any of our line officers at the Auxiliary State Department, and we can help you walk you through that. Next is our Secretary of State. That has to be filed by December 31st of every year. It just has to be renewed, so make sure to be in good standings. You do your Secretary of State by December 31st. Make sure you are training all your line officers and your units to know how to do all these things. So when they go up the line, they know how and they're not lost on what they should be doing. Next is my topic is membership. We all have new numbers to reach this year for the State Department and your units. I should start off with asking the State Department to help the units get their membership, what they need for this year. When you're out doing membership, have an auxiliary form with you and ask them, if you get a veteran to sign up, say, do you have a spouse? And ask them, maybe their spouse would like to join. We have a flat rate of $250 from anybody 80 years old and under to join. And some of our units are doing the 50-50 program, so then it would only cost them $150 to be a lifetime membership in our auxiliary. Remember, veterans, you can help our auxiliary get our members up. You also can become a member of the auxiliary also. You can only participate in one of them, but our numbers count in Washington, D.C. I want to also thank all of the auxiliary members and units that have been helping throughout this epidemic for making all these masks. I know some of the units have gotten thousands and thousands sewing them together, and I want to thank you all for helping the veterans and getting them to our C-Box, the hospitals, the VA hospitals, the homes. Thank you again and keep up the great work. I am hoping that you all have on your calendar November 3rd to vote. I would just like to say, make sure you're voting for the person that's going to help our veterans and the issues that they have. So remember, get out and vote on November 3rd. Also, my next topic is the VAVS Christmas party. Now, that is on hold, but still, our VAVS rep, Lois McCarran, is going to make sure that every veteran in our VA home in Minneapolis will be getting a gift from the auxiliary and the State Department. So remember, support Lois McCarran, the VAVS rep, and get your donations directly to her and earmark it VAVS Christmas party. I miss seeing my DAV auxiliary family. I hope you all are staying safe, stay strong, and we will make it through this. We are all together. God bless our veterans and God bless America.
As we're all aware, membership is the lifeblood of our organization. We would not be able to complete our mission, help the veterans that we help, make the impacts in the local communities that we do without the existing members and those incoming to continue our mission forward. The Department of Minnesota has some things we can be proud of in the year prior, and some things that we have to do differently in a new operating environment as we look ahead. To bring you more information on membership and some ways that we can continue to be one of the most successful departments in the country, I introduce Ron Haugen, Senior Vice Commander, Department of Minnesota.
Greetings. My name is Ron Haugen. I'm Senior Vice Commander for the DAV Department of Minnesota. As Senior Vice Commander, one of the responsibilities is membership. With the membership, I'm pleased to announce that the National DAV has presented to the Department of Minnesota the Judge Robert Marks, and that award is for the largest increase of life membership. And for those who don't know, Judge Marks is the founder of the DAV. That's a very prestigious award. So, congratulations. The department in the upcoming year will remain focused on life membership. So, and moving on to membership, we came in a close second in our division with Missouri. We got eked out by 0.13%. That's the bad news. The good news is we exceeded our membership goal by 450 members. And we're running a 5-to-1 ratio of life members to what they call the partial pay, or the $10 a month. So we're getting our people signed up. One of the biggest changes over the last year is we went from the old fee structure to the current $300 structure. We had a major program the last quarter of 2019, and with that, it was quite successful. We had 23 of our members throughout the state that signed up over 10 members each. Going into the next year, our 2021, we will be going with the new program, the $300 life membership program. Our goal for Minnesota has been set at 419. Well, we have 419 members to go, which means we're at 98% of our goal. So we have a ways to go. Where do we go with the COVID? This is a new experience to all of us. One thing we encourage from on the department level is to, if you got an idea, throw it out to one of the exec board members, the adjutant, myself as senior vice, or our commander. I guess throw the question at us, and the worst thing possible is we could say no. But we're open to most ideas. One thing we think about new ideas all the time here, and as our chapter leaders and our adjutants out there, stay tuned now for word coming out from the department at the end of the month. I say the end of the month, be October. The last week there will be a program introduced that be ready to roll with it. So, and as my parting comments for this year is, as a member or a new member, don't be asking what the DAV can do for me. The whole purpose of this is, what can I do to help my fellow veterans? Thank you.
Hi, I'm the DAV Department of Minnesota Junior Vice Commander Mikka Geary. The DAV of Minnesota Outdoor Program is committed to enhancing the quality of life for all veterans. Bringing veterans together in a natural setting allows veterans a healthy outlet, the therapy of just being with other veterans, and the confidence to continue their passion for hunting, fishing, and enjoying nature. Here to share an update on our incredible outdoor program is John Carson.
Hello everyone, I'm John with the DAV of Minnesota Outdoors program. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the past year and what's coming up with our outdoors program. So as you can see, to our last year events, we did quite a few that we were able to have people attend safely and make things happen. A lot of these are our base ones that we do every year, but we also had more pheasant hunts and more deer hunts than we normally do with the assistance of the chapters. So in total, between the Department of Minnesota, the chapters, and our partners, we were able to host 18 events last year. Maintain strong partnerships with other groups, our landowners, and resorts that we work with throughout the year. So we've been able to maintain a strong and healthy relationship all the way across the board. As you can see, and as everybody's aware of though, we have had to deal with the COVID-19 situation. It has had an impact on our events, and we have been on a hold for a good chunk of the year, starting back in March when we had to cancel our hog hunt. Not only did we have to cancel our hog hunt, but we also had to cancel the Trolling for Troops, the turkey hunt, our houseboat, and a couple other trips throughout the summertime. We are looking to reschedule a lot of our events when we can safely do so to make sure that we are doing things appropriately in accordance with all the safety guidance that's out there. This next year, these are some of the events that we're looking at putting on. Our Lake of the Woods ice fishing, our Lake Winnie ice fishing, our houseboat trip, our Williams Narrows trip, which normally happens in September, but we're actually doing in October this year. We will be conducting our normal Northwest deer hunt up by Bagley, as well as our Glenwood deer hunt that we've been able to find safe ways to complete these hunts. So make sure you check back on the website to see what events are coming up and what new ones will be rolling out soon. So like I said before, we definitely want to get more chapters involved. When more chapters get involved, we can hit more of those local veterans who are unable to get out there by themselves and that can be close to home. And also assist with hitting the areas that we're not familiar with, such as the Metro or Southern Minnesota. So if you have questions or you're interested in getting your chapter involved, give me a call at Department of Minnesota. The number there is 651-291-1212. And remember, be safe out there. That's our goal, is to always be safe and make sure our events moving forward are safe and we can protect our veterans the best way possible.
Hi, I'm Tom Amundsen, 2nd Junior Vice Commander for the Department of Minnesota. One of the driving forces behind DAV's mission of empowering veterans to lead high-quality and fulfilled lives is volunteerism. I continue to be inspired by our devoted volunteers across Minnesota. These folks selflessly provide the best possible care, morale, and assistance to our nation's heroes. We would not exist as the organization we are today without our volunteers. Once again, please welcome John Carson, who is joining us with an update on volunteerism in the DAV of Minnesota.
Hello everyone, it's John again with the 2020 Lvap update. So as everybody knows, and we've heard multiple times going through here, is the COVID-19 has been an absolute horrible mess for us this year with a lot of our programs. One of our more impacted programs is our Lvap program. For those who don't know, the Lvap program is our local veterans assistance program where we log and track our veteran hours for all the support that we give to the veterans out there. So the main issue that we have seen this year is the COVID-19 making it difficult not only to get out as a volunteer, but to assist the veterans who need the help because of the health restrictions that are out there today. The other problem that we have is the Lvap spreadsheet is very large and can be very confusing to fill out. And if you have questions how to fill that out, you can contact the department office at any time and we can assist you. So over the past couple years, we have been trying to build and develop an Lvap contact list for the members who are the coordinators for their chapter. So if you are helping submit your chapter's hours, please let me know so I can add you to our mailing list and assist you in getting the hours in. So the changes that are coming with the COVID-19, it's really hard to say what's going to happen. Like I say, the COVID-19 has drastically affected our hours that have been submitted, and that's because it's difficult to get out there. We understand it's difficult, and if you have been putting hours in, please feel free to submit them, but we understand why the numbers are taking a hit. We knew that this would happen when the pandemic started, that our volunteers just would not be able to get out and assist the veterans with their needs. Here's the spreadsheet that we are currently using. As you can see, there's a lot of different letters for the different categories that you need to fill in. Now this works great if you're setting up as a chapter and someone can submit for the entire chapter. They put all the names on there and then each month just add the hours under that category. A lot of those categories we don't use here in Minnesota, like the DAV 5K or the seminars, workshops. Unless you're with the NSOs or you're putting on a benefit seminar, it's very hard to get volunteer hours in those categories. So your main categories that you will use as a member of the chapter are the DAV outreach, the fundraising, the direct assistance, and any chapter department work that you're doing. So those are the main ones where you're gonna see your hours and put them in. And like I say, if you're submitting as a chapter, this is a great way to do so. If you're submitting as a volunteer or an individual, you can still go online and submit your hours right there over the davmn.org website. Just scroll to the bottom and there's a link to submit your LVAP hours. You submit them there and we will get those hours and we can put them into the system for you. Again, if you have questions, give us a call and we can assist you in putting those hours in. Especially with the spreadsheet, we're definitely here to help you with that, especially if you're a new chapter member or new to helping the chapter and putting in the LVAP hours. So if you have questions about submitting your hours, even during these COVID times or normal times, give us a call and we can assist you with the process. Or if you have questions on whether we have received your hours, feel free to give us a call and we can verify in the system that they are there. And here's my contact information. Feel free to call or email me anytime and we can get you all squared away. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Ellsworth Fields, 3rd Department Junior Vice Commander. One of the key areas of focus of DAV Minnesota is providing transportation to veterans across Minnesota. Last year, volunteer drivers transported more than 25,000 veterans to appointments, covering an incredible 1,163,000 miles. These volunteers invested more than 55,000 hours. I just want to pause so you can think about these incredible hours. Here is a full report on the transportation program. It's Stephanie Zimetz, DAV of Minnesota Transportation Program Manager.
Greetings, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Stephanie. I'm the Transportation Program Manager. I've been with the DAV for 4 years. I started in St. Cloud helping Trent out, and then everything's just kind of gone from there. This year's report is going to be similar from last year's report and years before that, but it's going to be a little different in the fact that we need to talk about the changes that COVID has made to the transportation program. Our numbers from January to August 2020 are just a drop in the bucket from what we're used to. Last year's numbers, we transported over 25,000 veterans and drove over 1 million miles. We are not going to reach that this year. COVID has definitely made an impact on that. But despite our expected low numbers, we are still leading the nation in transportation. Our whole world changed with the outbreak of COVID. Many programs came to a grinding halt. Minnesota only slowed down. We saw historically low numbers that we've never seen before. However, due to our amazing volunteer drivers and our staff, our numbers started to rebound already in June. Starting in July, we rebounded so well that compared to the rest of the nation's transportation programs, so there's 49 other national programs, we transported 25% of the veterans and we drove 23% of the miles and credited 16% of all the volunteer hours. Now that may sound low, but compared to states like California that have multiple VAs, and we have 2 in the state of Minnesota, we're soaring above them. Every month through COVID, the reports that National sent were just so disheartening because all you saw were zeros. You saw zeros in the biggest states that we competed with for years. And Minnesota, our numbers have been low, but we've had consistent numbers this whole time. If you weren't aware, our vehicles serve many locations outside of the VAs. Now this includes Seabox, Superior Seabox, Rochester Seabox, Fergus Falls, places like that. We do have an expansion project in Mankato that was accepted before COVID hit. The vehicle was purchased before COVID hit. It was wrapped, and it was actually donated and delivered to the Minneapolis VA on the first day of our state lockdown, which that was quite interesting. We all had a copy of those papers that showed that we were on official work business. So that one was on hold temporarily. We've now gotten the green light that we can start recruiting volunteers, which is a whole new aspect for us to try to do outreach and recruiting and not be able to be in large groups. So we are working towards that at this time. We did have another expansion area of Anoka, and that one is temporarily on hold. The reason for that is the VA wants to do a needs test, and right now a majority of providers are still using phone appointments and video appointments, so there's less and less people going to those community clinics. So the VA just wants to make sure when the vehicle is placed there that it is utilized, and we are working towards that right now. There's meetings in progress. One of our biggest downfalls right now is our Northwest program is closed. Our vehicles were grounded on May 19th, and those vehicles primarily go to the Fargo VA. The staff and leadership at the Fargo VA felt that it was in the drivers and the veterans' best interest to not be transported. They're keeping an eye on those numbers, and with COVID numbers going up and down, we're just kind of holding on tight and expecting the program to take off again, but we have to do what's best for the volunteers and for the veterans that we serve. So we look forward to continuing to serve our veterans in the state of Minnesota. COVID or no COVID, we're continuing and we're pushing forward. We've adapted, we've made changes before the VA made us make changes. We asked that all of our riders and our volunteer drivers wore face masks before we were mandated to. We started pre-screening all of our riders, just like they do when they come into any clinic. You get asked those questions if you're feeling bad. So we started a lot of that stuff before we were asked to, and we've been the lead on that, and we're working close with each of our VAs to try to keep moving forward through COVID-19, and it'll be interesting to see where we go in the future. Thank you for your time.
I'm John Walker, Treasurer for the DAV of Minnesota. The financial health of an organization is critical to the long-term success. Being a good steward of our funds is the utmost important to the DAV leadership. People are often surprised when I share with them that our organization receives no federal funding. One of our major areas of revenue is household donations, which was greatly impacted during the COVID-19 virus. However, even with these challenges, I am incredibly proud of the way DAV Minnesota continues to serve. Our message of being open for business came through loud and clear. Here to provide a full financial report and a sneak peek at our financial management tools is DAV Commander Scott Bernt and DAV Transportation Manager Stephanie Zemek.
As I talked in my commander's report, the department has worked diligently on a new tool for our chapters and auxiliary units to use. It is for the AFR, Annual Financial Report. Stephanie here is the brains behind it. I was just a testy beta tester. what we did is we built a tool for every chapter to use. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Now we're calling it a tool. It is a spreadsheet. And I know that sounds intimidating, but I've worked really, really hard to make it as simple as possible. There's areas for entering your income, your expenses, and there's a checking account and savings account area. There's drop-down menus. Tried to make it as simple as possible. And with those drop-down menus, those can be customized for your chapters. So we can go through that. When you're ready to do your schedules after that, because it keeps a running tally of all of your account balances for you as you're entering it in. So not only could you use it for your AFR, you could use it monthly for your account reports, your treasury reports to your chapter. But when you're ready for your schedule, you just find the schedule at the bottom, refresh the data, and then go file print. It's as simple as that. On the schedules, I've indicated if you have to submit extra documentation, so like all those receipts and proofs that you have to have, it will say right on the schedule once it's printed.
One thing about this program is with the Excel, I have noticed that you have to have a current Excel program. Myself, I used 2016. We've had one other chapter try it, which was, they had a 2007 version of Excel, and it did not work. It's inexpensive to update your Excel. And one thing I want to say is, using this tool, you have to keep your information up to date. Every time you do a transaction, put it on this tool. And it does work great. I tell you truthfully, this is the first time in about 20 years that I was exact without searching for pennies. This report put it out for my AFR for national, and I was very happy with that.
The whole concept was balancing your checkbook just one step further, and creating those schedules with it and making it what you do anyway. You balance your checkbook every month, you balance your checkbook after every deposit, after every expense, and then this just gives you one extra tool to use.
We will be pushing this out here right after this virtual conference. Stephanie will be putting a phone number, I do believe. Are you putting a phone number for them to contact you?
Yep.
I'm just, if you have troubles, once you get it, I can help you, but she's actually the brains behind the whole thing, and I'd rather not get involved unless there's a critical matter.
Yep, or a specific question for an AFR. If one of your properties needs to be counted or something like that, that doesn't relate exactly to the tool. Now, how to use the tool, how to input information, I can answer those questions without issues.
Well, one thing I did notice with this tool, I don't know, that's what I'm calling it, is at the end of the year when you are ready to do your AFR and then all your schedules. I'll tell you truthfully, there's a link right for your AFR. It completes your AFR, puts the numbers in you know where your numbers go, and it's just a valuable tool. And I want this tool to be utilized by all chapters. So I'm going to ask that all chapters do invest in this program.
You know, all of the chapters, you're already balancing your checkbook every month. You're already tracking your expenses, your income, your deposits. This is just putting it in one spot, and then you stay on top of it, so you do it every month. And at the end of the year, you have all of your information. You're not trying to pull from this spreadsheet, this area. You have it all together, and it's right there and easy to use.
Again, we want to thank you for taking your time to listen to us as a state commander and my sidekick, Steph, the founder of this program. So again, thank you and have a good day.
There will be more information on this tool during our live Zooms. We'll walk through step by step how to use it. And then after that, the tool itself will be available to each chapter. And if you have specific questions for your chapter, I'll feel free to answer any questions.
As I told you in my opening remarks, we talked about timeliness on reports. I had to appoint a new judge advocate this year, which is PDC Van Card. Lee Walker, which has been our judge advocate, he stepped down for health reasons, and I appointed Van Card, and the executive committee approved him. He is very knowledgeable, and he is going to make a presentation to you about all the stuff that I tried to get to touch base on, and I now introduce Van Card. Thank you.
Van Card, Department Appointed Judge Advocate for 2020-2021, Department of Minnesota. We have been asking each chapter to review and update their bylaws each 5 to 7 years. Many changes have come down from the department and national, and if you have not, please do so. If you would like help, please contact the department and we will come and help you out. As last I was judge advocate in 2014-15, I reviewed 5 or 6 of them, but I don't think anything has been done since then. So I know there's several of you chapters out there that are outdated and we need to get you updated. Some of the very important duties and dates to remember. Number 1, September 30th is the deadline for submitting annual financial reports to national and to the department. And you only have 1 day left. If you have not done that, then you must submit an extension through the national in order to abide by their constitution and bylaws. Number 2, if you have made under $50,000, you must file a 990N report. If the income is $50,000 to $300,000, you must file the 990EZ report. If over $300,000, you must have a certified public accountant file this. These are due on November 15th. The Attorney General for your nonprofit status, it must be turned in by January 15th of next year, 2021. Secretary of State is due on December 31, 2020. We have been asking chapters to have election of officers the month of March and installation before the department convention, which would be almost, you have to install them in the month of April. One of the questions I get from several chapters, can the commander or vice commander hold the offices of adjutant or treasurer? According to the national bylaws and department bylaws, no elected commander or junior commanders may hold the offices of adjutant or treasurer. Adjutant and treasurer may be elected or appointed, and they may be the same person. Accumulation of funds. I don't think we've got any chapters that are worrying about that. However, with our clothing collection, we never know, and this year we're down. You may not have in excess of 3 times the expenses of the previous years. So those are the main questions that we get all the time, and we keep harping, and you just got to follow the bylaws. If you have questions, call the department or look up your bylaws, and it will pretty much be self-explanatory in there. So hoping this helps all of you out, and have a good rest of the year.
I am 4th Department Junior Vice Commander Bruce Peterson. Earlier, you heard Adjutant Dilks talk about the importance of supporting veterans and coming forward with a unified, strong voice. The DAV of Minnesota is committed to bettering veterans programs at the federal and state levels. I am incredibly proud of our advocacy. We like to say that no one knows better about the issues veterans face than veterans themselves. Our leadership team has worked to unite our 19,000 plus members statewide to influence policies and laws that will benefit veterans, their families, and caregivers for generations to come. Here to recap of the year's legislative efforts is Adjutant Trent Dilks.
Thank you, Junior Vice Peterson. I'm happy to once again stand up here and brief you on legislative updates and ways that we can improve our process in the important work of continuing to fight for benefits and protect those benefits that have been secured by those before us. I'm glad we're finally recording this so you get an opportunity to watch me on replay and enjoy this at your leisure, as I'm sure you will do. Election season is upon us, and I have to remind all of our members, we are nonpartisan in all activities as the disabled American veterans. It's important during these contentious times that you ensure you do not represent yourself as a representative of the DAV in any partisan activities. When this happens and a member crosses that line representing the organization, the DAV's status as a nonprofit is put at risk when our members engage in those activities. We have to be able to work with everyone. Throughout the legislative process, it is important, no matter who is in power, that we're able to continue to fight and move our mission forward. And that is why it's so important that we resist the temptations to become partisan in our activities. When you're partisan in your activities, you essentially find yourself on the out and unable to help those you represent when the side that you didn't support is out of power. We have to remain nonpartisan. It is very important to our ability to continue to drive our mission forward. During the election season, it doesn't mean that we can't be active as an organization. We are and continue to be active in finding out what the candidates and incumbents are willing to support and able to commit to further our mission. Over the coming month, we will be reaching out to candidates for federal offices to ensure that they align their stance on veterans benefits with the priorities that we have. Taking it a step further, we will attempt to get a signed pledge supporting the 7 areas of concentration that you see on your screen. This is important work, and if you have any contacts with candidates or the ability to make an introduction, it would be appreciated so we can make sure no matter who wins on election day, veterans are properly represented down in DC. What you can do to further our mission and ways that you can be active is something that I've covered time after time and likely won't come as something new to you. To emphasize the importance of this work, I will tell you a little bit about what happened to us this most recent session. We all knew it was going to be a difficult session with COVID-19 and the tumultuous political times combined here in St. Paul. What we couldn't have predicted was that partisanship would so negatively affect the work we were trying to do with veterans. In the 7 years in St. Paul that I've been representing this organization, I have never seen a more clear-cut and dysfunctional example of the ways that partisan activities can hurt the veterans that we are trying to serve. As we work to pass the Veterans Restorative Justice Act, party lines dictated where support was and wasn't in our ability to bring important access to resources to keep our veterans out of the criminal justice system and getting the care that they need. We saw this happen, and we saw the response of the state organizations not be sufficient to overcome the partisan barriers. It's at times like this our organization must have the means to activate our members and to drive home the point that we will not stand for partisan activities getting in the way of progress for our veterans. One way you can stay up to date on federal issues is pretty simple. DAV CAN, the Commander's Action Network. Through this network, you will get alerts on when your federal representatives or U.S. senators may hold the keys to moving forward important legislation to continue our mission. Responding to these and taking action through the Commander's Action Network only takes a matter of moments to get that communication out and highlight that people in their districts, in their state, are paying attention and want to see these goals furthered and this legislation not wallow in the committee structure forever. You can ensure that you separate you from the DAV you. And what I mean by this is many of us have personal political passions, and that's understandable and laudable if you're engaged in those. But as a representative of the DAV, please keep in mind that no matter what happens in November, we have to be able to continue to work and drive our mission forward. It's important that representatives in your area understand that no matter what personal differences there may be, you stand ready to be a resource to guide them in proper policy decisions to help our disabled veterans in Minnesota and across the country. And finally, be prepared to act. I've heard it in St. Paul, and I know it's happened down in Washington, D.C. At any moment, an attack on the already established benefits that the generations before us have fought for could be taken away. Things like means testing for property tax value exclusion, reductions in the unemployability, and things like that are considered potential ways to cut costs and balance budgets on the back of our disabled veterans. It is so important that you stay engaged, find ways to communicate with the department and the DAV's Commander Action Network so that we can ensure these attacks are met head-on and with force of our members. And for my parting words, I'd just like to say the election is almost over, and then the real work starts. Those of us who work in making policy and policy guidance know that the election is almost a sideshow. The real work is after the election is over and educating the newly elected, re-educating those who are continuing to serve in their offices, and making sure at the forefront of their goals they understand that disabled veterans, their survivors, and dependents are a priority to their constituents who they ultimately answer to. Rhetoric is for the novices. Real change takes serious commitment and vigilance on us, on our part, and on the part of those who wish to support our mission. Thank you.
Greetings. I'm Rick Jarvis, past commander of the DAV Department of Minnesota. The primary source of revenue for DAV in Minnesota is household donations, mostly clothing. As you heard earlier, the program had a major setback this year when COVID hit. Donations slowed down when bins were closed, drop-off points were closed, and in some cases, operations were completely shut down. It caused a huge backup of product. Our community service projects limitations affected our regular donors as they were doing a quarantine cleaning and had nowhere to bring their donations. Rest assured, our DAV leadership is resilient. We are looking forward to remaining optimistic about the future. Here to provide an update of the household donation program and enterprise operation is Director of Operations, Josh.
Greetings, comrades, friends, advocates, supporters of the DAV in Minnesota. I'm going to do a brief presentation and update with the enterprise and clothing program. This is a little odd for me because normally I'm a little bit interactive with the crowd, so I'll do my best here looking at the camera. So 2020, I'm not going to go into the pandemic and COVID. I'm sure everybody's tired of hearing that. One thing I do want to say is it's been a interesting ride, and it really points out how interconnected everything is. How legislative activities in Africa and India impact what's going on in the ground in Cloquet. It's been a enlightening ride so far, I guess. I don't know if it's positive or negative, but that's what we got. So this year, per our contract, was supposed to be the heaviest year on record. We were going to bring in more than we've ever done before. I think to the tune of a £250,000 pounds more than we did in our heaviest year. That obviously is not happening. We'll be lucky to get half of that. Like I said, we've been doing our best to get things going when we can, but there are challenges all over due to the foot traffic at the retail stores, the international trade, what have you, has really impacted demand for our items. Therefore, we're not finding nearly the places to put our clothing that we normally would. I think right now we're at about 40 to 45% of what we would normally be bringing in this time of year, which is better than we've been doing a couple of months ago, but still far off from where we want to be. Again, we're mostly operating at a normal pace, I guess. Everything's rolling. All of our metro stuff's rolling. Most of the chapters are going. We're still loading trailers here and there. So everything's moving. Everything's working correctly, just at a much reduced area. Interruption with online systems. That was a kind of a big hit. So we didn't have the ability to pay our chapters for a while. And again, technology, I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but it was a total system failure. Most of that's up now. One thing that isn't up is the reporting that we used to do. I used to be able to run reports for all the chapters. You give me a call and I'd be able to run everything that you guys had done for a period of time. That's gone right now. I do have Kyle and Stephanie working on a solution, but as of this time, I don't have that capability to run those kind of reports anymore. We do have we are tracking what the chapters are doing in the short term. We are able to process the payments and everything's running pretty much on schedule that way. But some of the other reports that I've been able to produce in the past, I lost that capability. So we'll stand by for an update there, but as of now, that's kind of where we sit. Increased trailers. Some of the stores, Duluth, Rochester, Apple Valley, Woodbury, still are self-sufficient. They're not really taking anything from our metro crew or the chapters. That said, I have been able to square away a few trailers up in the Iron Range. I think the Iron Range is probably where they're having the most problems right now, just because everybody's used to going to that Duluth store and they haven't taken anything since March. So hopefully that changes here in the near future. We'll see. I'll keep everybody posted when I get information. Staffing and customer traffic, again, with my weekly updates with Savers, that's been their biggest thing. Processing what's coming in through the doors, staff turnover, this whole COVID thing's been ugly for the labor market and across the board. So starting up, they had some problems there. That still seems to be the case to some degree, but it is getting better and better. Simple recycling. Again, with them right now, as of today, we've loaded about half the trailers that I intended to load here at the beginning of the year when I did my budget, which is completely out the window at this point. Some other things that are going on. So since we haven't been able to meet for quite some time, I thought it would be wise to give everybody an update as I could. So since June, every week I've sent out a update so your chapters can make prudent decisions with your programs in your respective areas. I hope that you're getting that. If you're not, if for some reason that is not getting distributed, talk to your leadership. I've been sending it to all commanders, adjutants, and about halfway through we added senior vice commanders just to try to get a distribution out there. So if you haven't seen that, I apologize, but it has been going out, so please address that when you meet with the chapter again. Make sure your leadership is sharing the information that comes out. Most of it is electronic via email. I've tried to give guidance here, but the situation is that all the chapters have different operational styles. Some have trailers, trucks, some have box trucks, some have different amounts of volunteers, some have 1 bin out, some have 20 bins out. So I had a hard time really giving a blanket instruction that, hey, everybody do this and you'll be fine. Frankly, that I can't do that because everybody does it a little bit differently. So I did my best to try to give guidance. I hope that was helpful. And as we go down the road here and things start to correct a little bit more and a little bit more, we should be getting back to normal. I'm actually looking forward to not putting out those weekly updates anymore because hopefully we'll be back to for normal operations and I won't need to any longer. Like most businesses, our program experienced changes. Like I said, things that happen nationally and globally do have an impact. We run a business like any other business. Our product is secondhand textiles. There is a supply and demand curve for that kind of stuff, and as the supply went up, demand went down. Nobody was shopping. In a nutshell, I'm not going to get too technical there, but that's what happened. There was excess in supply. Demand was plummeting. Therefore, everybody was stuck holding on to everything, and that's how she went. Revenues are down. I'm glad to see some of the chapters getting some revenue flows again. I think almost all of our chapters now have been able to do something, but they're down significantly. I think, like I said, right now we're at about 40 to 45% currently in September, end of September, early October, that I would expect in a normal year at this point. All right, some positive news. I don't want to be all doom and gloom here, but some positive news. Last year at this time, when I was addressing the floor at Fall Conference, we rolled out our intention to incorporate some of the national PSAs onto our donation bin design. We did that. On the slide here I've got up. One of them, the first picture with the snow, is Chapter 13 Grand Rapids, their bins out there. Those are the Malacca bins, and then the other picture is Rochester Chapter 28, Mayo Southeast. Those are the two of the units that were manufactured by the Rochester manufacturer. So they are out. We've got about 25, 30 bins out and about throughout the state of Minnesota. But that's what they look like there with some of the national PSAs. We thought it would give a kind of a personal touch where the donors would come up and it wouldn't just be a metal box asking for stuff. It would be kind of a little story if they wanted to sit there and read it, and a little bit more of a personal appeal to our donors throughout Minnesota. Again, just the dimensions. Both of the models are fairly similar, other than the overall cost. But if any chapters have any questions or anything about the bins or the cost or anything like that, please feel free to get a hold of me. You reach out to me. I'm pretty responsive in email. So yeah, I try to be open with everything that's going on. So don't be afraid to ask me any questions. So I just want to touch on this. I know that we haven't had an opportunity to do anything with these bags, and I had getting a few reports back earlier in the year after last year's conference that although we tried to enhance the quality, there's still those fin seal bags are still packaged, so they are a little bit delicate. I've heard that you don't want to fill them much more than half full, and be very careful when it's cold out. Don't put all kinds of air in there. But we did distribute the 50,000 bags last year about this time. Our intent was to distribute another 50,000 this year at this time, assuming that the chapters would go through and need them. Since that's not happening, if anybody, once we do start getting rolling, want to do clothing drives with churches and schools and whatnot, if you need more, let me know, because I still have half of our order sitting there waiting, ready to go. We didn't want to give them all out at one time. We thought that would be foolhardy. So I do have about 50,000 bags still in storage. So if any of your chapters is going out and using those, which was the intent, let me know when you need a refresh, and we'll get you squared away somehow. Okay. So where are we going? So a couple of things here. One is I try to keep up to date with the industry and what's going on, and all signs point to the next 5 years being pretty phenomenal in the industry to use textiles, to the tune of quite a huge percentage increase overall in thrift stores and overseas markets and everything like that. So I do think that our fundraising program will continue to be successful into the future. The one thing that we didn't do is mess around with the chapter rates. As I put out earlier this year, one of our vendors, due to the lack of demand, did decide to change or reduce our rates per pound. We did not consider changing the chapter rates. So all the chapter rates stayed the same, even though the department rates were fluctuating to some degree. So I thought that was a pretty positive thing for the chapters and units. Long-term outlook, again, seems to be very, very good. And I do suspect that, within the next 6-8 months, we should be back to relatively normal operations where we don't have to worry as much about the muzzle that we currently are dealing with. And that's pretty much it for my presentation here today. I hope all is well. Again, it's been an interesting year. If anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, again, I know that everybody's situation is a little bit different, so don't be afraid to reach out to me directly. That's what I'm here for, to help the chapters through their issues. So please don't be afraid. If you don't know, my email address is my first name, Josh, Josh, at davmn.org. That's Josh at davmn.org. Thank you very much, and enjoy the remainder of your 2020.
At the heart of what we do as an organization is ensuring that the benefits that were earned by our veterans, the benefits available to their survivors and dependents, are reliably made available to them in a timely fashion. We would not be able to ensure this without the hard work and dedication of our National Service officers. Beyond benefits, they're also instrumental in continuing our mission and membership, with many of them over the last year recruiting over 50 full-paid life members in the NSO office. I'd like to introduce John Callback, Assistant National Supervisor, to give you an update on what's going on in Fort Snelling.
Good afternoon. My name is John Callback. I'm the Assistant Supervisor at the National Service Office here in Fort Snelling, Minnesota. Today I'm going to be covering a few topics for your information. One will be our office hours at the Fort Snelling office, the Vonage phone number that we've recently established, Debt Management Center issues, what exactly the VA needs to grant service connection, and the 2019 Appeal Modernization Act options that you will have. Currently, due to COVID-19, our office hours have been changed recently. We are still open now Monday through Thursday, 8 to 3 p.m., Fridays 8 to noon. Now, due to COVID-19, appointments are limited and at the discretion of our office staff for the safety reasons, of course. Please call or email us first. Our phone number is 612-970-5665, and our email is dav.vbaspl@va.gov. I was talking about Vonage. We had a nationwide Vonage number set up, call center, due to COVID because all of our offices nationwide had closed at one point. We're slowly reopening our offices nationwide, but there's still offices out there that are closed. Now, if you're having trouble getting to our office via the phone or the email, you can reach any National Service officer across the country by dialing 1-888-604-0234. That's 888-604-0234. And that's the Vonage National Call Line. So if you call and you talk to an NSO or a National Service Officer, it might not be our office here at Fort Snelling. It could be someone in Seattle or New York or even Los Angeles. Speaking about the Debt Management Center, the Debt Management Center currently has suspended all collections of debt until January 1st, 2021 due to COVID-19. That means they're not collecting on any debts, or shouldn't be collecting on any debts, until January 1st, 2021. That may be extended, but that is at the discretion of the Department of Veteran Affairs. All right, everybody always wants to know, well, why can't I get service connected for this? Why can't I get service connected for that? Well, there are 3 things by law that VA needs to be able to service connect any medical condition. If they don't have these 3 things, by law, they can't grant service connection. No ifs, ands, or buts. Number 1 is most important. Current diagnosed medical condition. If you come to the VA and say, hey, look, I want to claim service connection for a broken arm or residuals of a broken arm, but you have no residuals, there's no current diagnosis, the VA is going to say, well, we can't grant service connection right off the bat. There's no current diagnosis. The VA is not there to diagnose you unless you're diagnosed, of course, at the VA Medical Center, and that's two different VAs basically. One is benefit, one is health. Number 2 is proof of an in-service event, injury, or illness that shows that, you know, hey, I was sick or I was wounded, or here's the event that caused this or that. And basically what VA relies on is our military medical records and our military personnel records. So they'll verify those. Number 3, last but not least, they need a medical opinion with a medical and scientific rationale. Well, what does that mean? Well, the doctor gives an opinion. Hey, I think it's at least as likely as not 50% probable that the current diagnosed condition is related to military service. Well, they've got to have some type of medical and scientific rationale to back that up. If they just say the opinion and that's it, VA is going to say, well, there's no rationale to back up the opinion. They'll order an opinion on their own, and the VA doctor will give an opinion and a rationale. That medical opinion and rationale will have more probative value to your claim than the one you submitted. So to recap on the three things that you need a current diagnosed medical condition. If you don't have one, VA can't do anything. Proof of an in-service injury, event, or illness. Like I said, VA has a duty to assist us by law to get our medical and military personnel records to verify things. You don't have to get them. If you have them, that's all the better because you can submit those to VA and VA can use those. I'll discuss about the 2019 Appeal Modernization Act and what it's basically, it's AMA. So if you get a letter and says AMA, that's the Appeals Modernization Act. You have some options. And I'll refer back to the three things you need for service connection during this portion of the presentation. Number one, you can file a supplemental claim for any claim that's ever been denied, okay? However, you need new and relevant evidence to submit this. Now, new and relevant evidence can be anything from a diagnosis that the VA's never seen from you, never before seen medical records, maybe an opinion or rationale stating the diagnosed condition is related to service. There are multitudes of examples of new and relevant evidence. Your national service officers will be able to help you to tell you, hey, this is new and relevant. No, this has already been seen by VA. This isn't relevant or new, all right? Number two, there's a higher level review system. Now, this higher level review looks at all evidence of record. No new evidence can be submitted at a higher level review. And this is on a claim that's been denied within 1 year from the date of the denial. So, supplemental claim, anytime you've been denied now, because the years passed from the start of the Appeals Modernization Act, higher level review, they will only consider the evidence of record to see if there's any errors of fact or law. Now, I feel VA screwed up, so I should be service connected. That's not an error of fact of law. So what they do is they send it to a decision review officer to determine, did the VA make any errors in fact and law in deciding the claimed condition? Last but not least, you've got a board appeal. Now, this is an appeal to the Board of Veterans' Appeals. They have their own distinct three options. Number one, if you feel that the VA is messed up and denied your claim and you went through a high-level review or a supplemental claim, within 1 year of those decisions, you can go and get a direct review of your appeal from a veteran law judge. Now, a direct review basically is all the evidence of record. No other evidence will be submitted. It's like a higher level review. So a veteran law judge will determine were there errors of fact or in law. Number two, evidence review by a veteran law judge. Well, in this case, you can submit evidence within 90 days of requesting an appeal with a veteran law judge to review all the evidence of record. This is one of the cases where you could actually submit evidence, but it has to be within 90 days of the board appeal. So if you submitted January 1st, you have 90 days from January 1st to submit evidence. After that, the judge just makes a decision. Number three, you can request a hearing with a veteran law judge, and you can also have the opportunity to submit evidence within 90 days after the hearing has been completed. So this one opens up a lot of good things for veterans because one, you're standing in front of a veteran law judge, and when you do that, you're painting a picture. You're telling the law judge, hey, look, picture this. This is how it happened. This is what happened. These are the circumstances, These are mitigating circumstances of why I should be granted for this claim. Now, it's not just an I feel, but you have to base it on some fact and law as well. And an NSO will help you. Through any of these processes, supplemental claim, higher level review, and board appeals, your DAV National Service Officer will be with you to help you. Now, on that note, as a veteran, you are responsible to keep up on your claims and appeals. We don't actively monitor every single veteran's claims and appeals. If you call us, we're going to research whatever you need research. We're going to answer your questions, but we're not going to call you up and say, well, this is what's going on. This is what's going on. We just don't have the manpower to do that. So if you're interested in your claim, call us and we'll give you an update on it. If you have an appeal and you're interested in what the status is, call us up and we'll let you know what's going on. Just to recap, we have office hours that have changed due to COVID right now. We're not sure when those are going to change. We haven't been told exactly a date when the Veterans Affairs office here in St. Paul is going to reopen for hearings or anything like that. We do see veterans. Typically, it's basically on a walk-in, but you should call first. Like I said, due to safety and COVID-19 restrictions, it might not be feasible that day. I want to thank you for your time, and if you have any other need any other information from DAV, you can call our office, email our office, or visit www.dav.org. And then there's also our other media sites on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Flickr. Thanks again for your time, and have a great rest of the day.
Hello, I'm Mark Jarzewski, Chair of the Board for the DAV of Minnesota Foundation. Operating as the giving arm of DAV Minnesota, the Foundation provides the financial resources to support our programs, services, and projects across Minnesota. One of the core objectives of the Foundation is to support the daily activities of the DAV of Minnesota, and many of the operating costs of providing services, transportation, outdoor programs, and legislative support are provided by the Foundation. The Foundation is a separate entity from the DAV of Minnesota and is governed by an independent board of directors. We are extremely lucky to have DAV National Commander Butch Whitehead continue to serve on our Foundation board. And now, with a board update, is Commander Butch Whitehead.
Hello, everybody. Stephen Whitehead here, or as you all know me as Butch Whitehead, Executive Director for the DAV Minnesota Foundation, and you're also your National Commander. What a year we've been in here. Who would have thought that me being the National Commander, your Executive Director, that I would be sitting here doing a recording to bring you updates on what the Foundation's done over this last year and change. But the lovely pandemic we're in has put us to this here, but it's important that we get out to you what the DAV's been doing as a whole, DAV Minnesota Foundation. Today I want to highlight what the fiscal year 19-20 and what the DAV Minnesota Foundation has been able to do. Even during this pandemic, we've still been able to do a lot of great things in helping veterans across the state of Minnesota and making a big difference in a veteran's life. For those that don't know, I want to kind of give you a short back brief of what the Foundation is. Our mission, the charitable giving arm of the department, providing financial resources for projects and programs directly supporting veterans and their families throughout Minnesota. Our values, veterans first, just like the DAV. Transparency, accountability, financial stewardship, responsiveness, visionary and transformational leadership. It's very important that we talk about all of those when everything we look at when it comes to grants and helping veterans. Because at the end of the day, the money that we raise is supposed to take care of veterans and their families. Organizational structure. For those that don't know, it's been a 2-year project, but the DAV Minnesota Foundation was finally converted to a 501c3. That is a big change. For those that weren't aware of, the 501c3 was a change from the 19 that we were from the inception of the organization. This is a big project for the DAV for the fact of the foundation now is going to be able to apply for a lot more grants, public grants, that are out there, that these organizations that want to help veterans, but unfortunately when the foundation was a C19, not too many organizations even knew what a C19 was. So we made the transition here this year, effective August of 2019, we converted over to an actual 501c3. We're also making a big change this year as well. We're going from 5 board members to 7. And the reason for the change is actually allowing us to be more transparent. We talked about that, one of our big values. We're now going to actually open up the board to 7 individuals, and actually the commander is no longer the one appointing the positions. The Foundation Board of Directors will make recommendations to the Department Executive Committee leadership, and they will be the approving individuals of who becomes a board member of the Foundation. We are truly trying to separate this organization from the department because the organization falls underneath the department, and we need to be transparent that the money is truly being spent the way it should be and not being led by one organization, only one leadership. The members that are coming on will potentially have to serve up to 3 years if they can. The reason for that is because there's so many things going on. 1-year term will not allow a member to truly understand the impact what the DAV Minnesota Foundation is there for. So some of the members will be coming on as 3, some will be 2, and some will be 1. Fiscal year. What a year, right? Well, it was really tough to see the number of donations drop this year because of the change in the pandemic and how it affected so many businesses across the state, across the country. I will tell you, the DAV Minnesota Foundation still met our goal that 85% of every dollar that we spent went to veterans services and programs. That is huge. You know, being a part of the charities review that we're being evaluated every year, that's important for the board of directors and also to me that we kept in constant focus on that the money that we bring in isn't for administrative expenses or to fundraising. It's actually to get back out to the veterans and helping the veterans in the lives that they live. So 85% of every dollar that we spent went to veterans or their families. Overall, annually, you know, I projected this year that we're bringing in roughly about $700,000. Well, we came in about $150,000 short. We came in about $452,000. And all these numbers I'm going to talk about today, you'll see in the annual report that will be published out there online, as also will be mailed out to you as well. But again, I want to highlight overall $452,000. Not bad. We brought in a lot of money, even in a difficult time that we were in not able to do a lot of our fundraising. This year we had to cancel our 5K run. That is one of our only two fundraisers that we do a year. We canceled the 5K because of the size of the gathering and stuff like that. We just could not seem that we're right that we bring that big group together, so we canceled that. We did host the annual golf classic. However, that fell into the new fiscal year. So in fiscal year 1920, we had 0 fundraising. Also, with cancellation of convention and conferences, we lost the lovely support of our individual members and our chapters that are Prater donors. That was a big hit. However, we were still able to go out there and find some money when it came to the general public stepping up and getting grants to us. In donations across, $417,000 of the $452 came from the general public. One of our biggest donors out there, Bob Lang, a huge shout out to Bob, because Bob and the lovely support from his friends and his network brought in over $200,000 himself. So thank you, Bob Lang, and all of his supporters out there. Those that you know Bob, you know how well he really truly cares about veterans. Program expenses though, what a huge year. Even the down year that we had, we still spent over $500,000 on veteran services and programs. I'll say that again, over $500,000, actually just shy of $600,000 that we spent on veteran services and programs helping veterans and families across the state. So you think about it, we actually operated at a loss this year. We spent $120,000 more than we brought in this year. But that's what the foundation's here for. We're here to meet the need of the veterans, and actually we'll worry about finding that money down the road to continue our operations down the road. Management costs, we had 14% of our overall expenses with management. Again, we got services we got to provide. We got legal fees, we got professional services that we got to pay for, so we always got to worry about that as well. But 14% was that, and then of course, like I said, the fundraising piece, that was only roughly about 6% of our over expenses. Highlighting some of the programs that we really focus on this year. Our top program this year was our outdoors program. Those are members, you guys all know how great of an outdoors program the DAV Minnesota has. That was our top program this year that we supported, and I'm very proud of it. We again put in got 600 veterans that were able to get back out into the outdoors activities, be it hunting, fishing, or whatever it may be. If it wasn't for the foundation, those programs wouldn't be able to take place. So huge shout out to the outdoors program for all they do and keep up the great work. Continue supporting our veterans homelessness. As you all know, that's one of our big programs that we're really trying to, again, continue to stay involved with and end our veterans homelessness. We partner with 2 different nonprofits that really specialize in that. Minnesota Assistant Council for Veterans, or MACV, and every 3rd Saturday. Both those 2 nonprofits do a phenomenal job at really getting after that homelessness for veterans and finding those veterans, getting them off the street, or preventing them to get in the street. This year we actually helped. We gave a grant to MACV that actually went directly to helping veterans, where we paid for either their lodging in a hotel and or we paid for their first month's rent so they actually could get back on their feet. Veterans transportation. As you know, Minnesota DAV, we have a wonderful transportation program and we're proud to be able to continue to support that. Minnesota, as you heard earlier through the slides, I'm sure somebody out there talked about all the number of vans that we have, but over 30 vans across the state of Minnesota. And the foundation is very proud to be able to continue to support that transportation program and all the great work they're doing out there to getting our veterans to and from the VA medical centers. But also another big program that we continue to reach out, and that is our state veterans homes. We have 5 state veterans homes across the state, and we continue to reach out and help each one of those veterans homes. Again, continuing to help the veterans that are living their lives in the veterans homes. So kudos to the board for focusing on that. But also continue to work with Minneapolis and St. Cloud VA medical centers. This year with the pandemic, the department commander really stepped up, as well as we had a lot of our donors out there stepping up and identifying the need. And one of the biggest needs this year was providing face masks. The new change right now going on, mandatory that every veteran wears a face mask. Well, the VA, they didn't have enough PPE on hand. So how are they going to provide a face mask? So this year, the DAV Minnesota Department and Foundation stepped up, and we've been donating over thousands of masks to the VAs to make sure the veterans, when they come into the VA to their medical appointment, they can put a mask on and stay compliant with the current standard. For those that don't know where to go find the DAV information or the foundation, I want to make sure you understand where the foundation is our own entity. We have our own website, and that is davmnfoundation.org. You can go there and you can find all this information as well, but also go there and highlight all the program and services that we support. I want to take this time to thank everybody for taking time and listening and being part of this video, because it's important that you understand that we want to be there with you. However, due to certain circumstances, we can't, but we still want to get all this great information out to you. So if you have any questions, please, again, go to our website, davmnfoundation.org, and reach out to us. Everybody take care and have a wonderful time.
I hope you found the presentations and informational seminars given out throughout this virtual fall conference beneficial and an opportunity to continue to develop and learn more about the DAV Department of Minnesota. I know you've heard a lot about the year past, and I don't want to go back through everything in detail, but I would like to highlight a couple of things. Throughout this unprecedented event of COVID-19 and the pandemic, I think we can be very proud of our organization as a whole. The strength has been on display when it comes to the Department of Minnesota. Whether it's our transportation staff continuing our mission and helping veterans in a way that was not duplicated anywhere else in the country and now serves as a standard for continuing those services, or through our support staff and the efforts that they have done to continue to keep an operating environment going, no matter what hurdles or obstacles have been raised for them, is something we can also be very proud of. Our NSOs continue their mission. Our volunteers continue to show up every single day to continue to help those who need it most and get through these difficult times. I believe that the strength of this organization lies not only in the staff, but in the members who have been out there in their local communities continuing to make this impact and continuing to benefit the disabled veterans in their area, the family members of those veterans, and the survivors. This is something that we can all be proud of. And as you look forward, I hope you will focus on the strengths that we have demonstrated as an organization and as a whole, and continue to drive our mission forward, learning lessons along the way. Brings me to the way forward. The state of your organization is strong. We have made it through 6 months of a global pandemic, demonstrated all of those things I just covered, and are now positioned to continue forward, offering more services than ever before, expanding services into underserved areas, and making sure that we have the positive impact, which is our mission and our only focus. I'm very proud to have been the adjutant of this organization for the last 18 months, and I look forward to continuing to support our mission as we move forward. I thank you all wholeheartedly for everything you've done to help get us through this pandemic and the difficult times that we've experienced and the transitioning times that I hope we're moving into ahead on our way to better days. As the final part of this virtual fall conference, the department is going to offer 3 different live Zoom meetings on various topics to ensure that you, our members and supporters, have an opportunity to ask questions of the staff, executive committee members, and foundation board members so that you can get the answers to any questions you may have had that weren't already answered in this presentation. Those will take place on October 24th at 10 a.m., October 26th at 6 p.m., and October 28th at 6 p.m. Links for this will be found in the same areas of the department website that you are able to locate this virtual fall conference. Information will be sent out through our e-news, so make sure you've already signed up for that, available on our homepage at davmn.org. We'll also send out additional information to the chapter commanders, adjutants, and senior vices who have provided working emails for our office to utilize. I thank you again for taking the time to learn more about your department, to keep informed on our current operations, and most importantly, to refocus on the way ahead as we come out of these difficult times. Thank you.